Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world that you are in. I hope you're good. Sorry, I haven't had videos up in a couple of days. It's been extremely busy for me. Today, I'm looking at MTN 9 month and Q3 2023 numbers. So I'll start with the 9 month numbers first. By 9 months, like I've explained in my previous videos, it means the 9 months out of the 12 months in the company's financial year. Or simply put, I mean from January to September 2023. That's 9 months. And so these are the numbers for MTN Nigeria. MTN Nigeria is one of the biggest companies on the stock exchange in Nigeria. It's also one of the biggest companies by revenues. It's one of the handful of companies. I don't think there are more than five or six at this rate that do over 1 trillion naira in annual revenue. So MTN is a big deal. And so I'd start with the 9 month numbers and look at Q3 numbers also on the same sheet, and I'll swipe. For 9 months, you can see that clearly revenue is growing healthily. Total revenues went up by 21% from 1.4 trillion naira to 1.7 trillion naira. I zeroed in on the two major sources of revenue for this firm, which is voice and data revenue. Voice revenue is up by 10.6%, went from 753 billion to 834 billion, while data revenue grew faster. And I'm going to spend some time on data revenue because data revenue is where the juice is now for telcos in the country. And so you can see that data revenue went up from 549 to 749 billion, up 36.4%. Interesting thing to note is that I suspect, because I need to go further back to look at the numbers. For 9 months, you can see that voice revenue is just slightly higher than data revenue. But when you look at the Q3 numbers, and I'll look at those in a bit, you finally have data revenue overtaking voice revenue. And who knows, another 3, 4, 5 years, we'll probably see a more healthy gap between both. So these are the key sources of revenue. Data revenue is growing very strongly, and that's a good thing because that's where the margins are in terms of telcos. But you see that profit after tax fell sharply by 45.2%, and that's because you had a devaluation of the FX in June. Like I said, that has affected every firm that has FX liabilities, especially. By the time you value those liabilities using the new naira exchange rate to the dollar, it led to a jump in finance cost, and that went from 137 to 375 billion, right? So profit after tax fell by 45.2% and all that. But if you look at mobile subscribers and data subscribers, that's also doing well. Growth is a bit slow for mobile subscribers, but data subscriber growth is much faster, and so that's good. So numbers are not too bad, but for the higher finance costs following the FX issues we had in June, right? And if you look at Q3 numbers, right, you can see that total revenue grew healthily as well. Data revenues finally, I'll use the term finally, overtook voice revenues, and that is a significant thing in my opinion, because that's major for the firm. So data revenues came in at 279 billion, up 38.9% from the previous year. Voice revenues came in at 271 billion, up 7.7%. I must say that even though data revenues are growing faster than voice revenues, I mean, I'm impressed that for a company this size and for the stage where we are in our telecommunications journey, seeing 5, 10, 7% year-on-year growth for voice revenues is quite impressive. And SMS revenues also did quite well. I wanted to make the table as compact as possible, so I didn't put SMS numbers. So I think SMS numbers probably give you 10-20%. I would include that in my thread. There's lots of things to include in my thread. So if you don't follow me on social media, I would drop a link to my social media handles, and you can see my Twitter handle. and you can see the Twitter thread I do every week. So I'm going to do a thread on the MTN numbers, the Seplat, Airtel numbers, which are also out as well, and I can be more verbose in my thread. So I just thought to share this. Hope you found it interesting. Is there anything you'd like to know? Is there anything that you want to see in coming videos after this? Please feel free to let me know, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.